Welcome to the ACMG Tech Video Series. In this presentation, we're going to explore the fixed point belay, a method belaying the leader using a manual braking device attached to a fixed point on the anchor. The force is transferred directly to the anchor in the event of a fall. The belayer provides the braking force only. Belayer movement is limited in the event of a leader fall. Consider using a fixed point belay when there is a higher potential for a leader fall, potential for high impact force, potential for a long leader fall, or problems maintaining the integrity of the belay. Unlike traditional anchors, fixed point configuration does not always attempt to equalize the load between placements. This configuration focuses the fall force on a small loop, the fixed point, attached to a single placement. This reduces the amount of travel when a fall force is applied and lessens the likelihood of losing control of the braking strand. This horizontal configuration also reduces the shock load on the second piece if the primary piece fails. The placements used in fixed point construction must be high integrity, multi-directional pieces such as good bolts or ice screws. Due to potentially high forces and upward movement of the fixed point when loaded, it is recommended that a locking carabiner be used to attach the fixed point. The fixed point loop may be subjected to high forces, and due to the reduction in material strength introduced by the knot, the fixed point may need to incorporate 2 loops of material and achieve a minimum strength of 20 kilonewtons. The loop should be kept small to reduce the amount of upward travel. The Italian hitch works well due to its ability to hold both upward and downward forces without adjustment. Other manual braking devices, such as tubes, will work, but they may require some form of redirection for downward forces. The belayer clips into the anchor using the focal point. The belayer pays rope in or out of the belay device. This may require practice if the belayer is not familiar with belaying off the anchor. If the leader falls, force is applied to the anchor. The belayer provides the braking force for the belay device only. Gloves are recommended. Let's take a look at some belay devices and how to use them using fixed point construction. The Italian hitch is very versatile as it accommodates both downward and upward forces with little adjustment. When using a tube device, the braking rope must be redirected until the leader clips the first piece of reliable protection. Be sure to orient the device properly if it has braking teeth or grooves. Once the first piece is clipped, the redirect can be removed. Now let's take a look at methods for constructing anchors to be used with a fixed point belay. The most common construction uses variations of the parallel configuration. If the option exists, vertical placement orientation works best. Webbing or accessory cord can be used. Use a minimum of 2 multi-directional pieces of good quality. Minimum fixed point travel distance should be kept to 20 centimeters. Fixed point should be about chest height to allow for efficient rope handling. In vertical construction, place a bight of webbing in the top carabiner, a double bight in the bottom locking carabiner. Gather all the bights and tie an overhand knot. Fixed point loop should be about 5 centimeters. In the vertical orientation, especially when using ice screws, the belay carabiner may be placed through both the fixed point loop and the bight from the top carabiner, the shelf. This reduces the potential for shock load should the lower piece fail. A device or hitch is then attached to the fixed point belay carabiner. The belayer is secured to the focal point. When using horizontal placements, the construction method is similar to that used in the vertical orientation. No attempt is made to distribute the forces evenly between the two pieces. Instead, construction focuses the force on the placement attached to the fixed point. This reduces the shock load in the second piece should the primary piece fail. The belay carabiner, along with the device or hitch, is placed through the fixed point. Now let's take a look at using the double loop overhand for fixed point construction. Instead of clipping a bite into the fixed point carabiner, tie a small double loop overhand and clip it in. The overhand uses less material and is nearly the same strength as the figure 8 version. Cord or webbing can be used. Gather both bites and tie an overhand or figure 8 as close to the double loop overhand as possible. Focus should be on the fixed point carabiner. The belay carabiner is placed in the double loop overhand. This is a versatile setup as you can keep the double loop overhand in the cord or webbing for the duration of the climb and incorporate it in a number of different anchor configurations, including diagonal and vertical orientations. Do not use quick links for fixed point belays. Their strength is often an unknown. They are not designed to withstand the shock generated by high fall forces. Also, do not clip the belay device directly into a bolt or ice screw hanger. However, it is okay to use purpose-designed rings, such as the Fix-A ring anchor, for the fixed point. They test between 18 and 25 kilonewtons. Vertical anchor orientation is preferred with ice screws. Modified parallel or parallel with double loop overhand configurations will both work. Because of the less predictable holding power of ice screws, it is preferable to place the belay carabiner through the fixed point and the bite from the upper ice screw, the shelf. The following video depicts a belayer using a belay tube off the harness and catching a leader fall. The fall factor is 1.5 and there's very little friction introduced due to the overhanging nature of the wall. The next video depicts a belayer using an Italian hitch off a fixed point and catching the same fall force as the previous video. Thanks, and be sure to watch the other videos in this series.